first part of the dummy form, and basically I'm not trying to teach you the dummy form right now, but for the most part I'm actually trying to teach you how to use a dummy so it actually helps you to develop your skill better in Wing Chun. Obviously everyone's seen Rumble in the Bronx, and when Jackie Chan works on a dummy, it looks great. It's really entertaining. He does a lot of fast motions and so forth, and sure at some point or another he was trying to mimic the same exact motions that he did just for the hell of it. But the reality is, the dummy is a tool, and the tool is here to help develop some certain skills that you need. So first of all, think of it this way. This dummy is a fixed position. So in reality, what you're trying to do is put yourself in the best possible position each time you hit the dummy. Okay? So there's constant adjustments every time you work with the dummy. So the fact that you can go and hit it fast, you're basically just tapping it fast. You're losing the bigger picture of what you want to develop. So first of all, how do we use it in the most simplest of sense? When you're working with a dummy, regardless of what form you're doing, or even if you're not doing a form and you're just trying to use a dummy to help you out, any type of motion that you do, you want to see your relationship to the dummy. So for example, if I do something like, let's say in the section where I go from here, I do a 3-angle step, and I go Chun and a low palm strike, okay? So a lot of times you can see something like this, low palm strike. What's good, or what's bad, or what's right and what's wrong? So what you want to think of is where you are position-wise in the dummy. So first of all, the simplest thing to remember, jammed or too far from the dummy, or uneven from the dummy. So actually that's 3 things. So for example, if I go from this position, I'm in the box position here, and I take my adjustment, Chun, and basically low palm. Look at my body structure here. And look how I'm jammed into my opponent. So if this is my opponent, I would actually jammed in. You actually have to learn how to position yourself properly. So if you are any type of block, any type of attack that you do, you want to be in the ideal position so you can flow to the next motion. If I do something as simple as this and jam myself in, whether I have to block or attack out the next motion, it's actually really going to affect how you do things. The other worst thing you can do is if I'm here and I'm in the box out position, I'll do the same motion, but I do Chun and low palm, and now look, I'm actually reaching for it. Okay, I'm too far from the dummy. Okay, that's a second thing. So either I'm jammed, I'm too far from the dummy. The third thing you want to do is dealing with the balance. So what does that mean? So I'm here in the box out position, and I go Chun and low palm now. Okay. Being balanced to the dummy is you have 2 hands, this left side and right side. The power you want basically to be even on both sides. So if you see, for example, this hand you have the sinking position of the Chun here, but this hand, on the other hand, is too much stretch. Okay, so you see how my arm's fully stretched out for here? That's not a good position, it's uneven. It's almost like I'm going 30 and 70 with my 2 arms. But if I go from Chun and I slightly bend myself and I square up in the right position to the dummy, notice like where my elbow position are. If you look at it from this perspective, they're practically in line with each other. So if I'm here, I go push evenly, notice I'm actually going even into the dummy. I don't favor one side being too outstretched and one side being jammed in. Or one side being too jammed in, one part being stretched. I want the power even, or basically I look at my elbow line and see that I'm actually even with that. Okay, so to recap that, when dealing with the positioning of the dummy itself, I'm here, I either jam myself up, too far outstretched, or the balance of power between the 2 hands. One's too much on one side, too little on the other side, and vice versa. Okay? So really that's one of the key things when you're working with a dummy. You want to actually put yourself in a good position every single time. Take for example the motion here. For the first motion, when I go with my jump style and I do my lot style chop here. You can see a lot of people when they go here, they just do a lot chop and then their body's jammed in here. Perfect example of what I was saying before. Look at the alignment. Yeah, I can totally touch a dummy from this point on. But once again, you want to think in respects to how you're doing it. Okay? If I'm here, I'm trying to lock and actually hit here. Look how this part of the arm is jammed this part are stretched. What I really want to do is, if I'm in the right position, this is, let's say this is a punch hand I'm dealing with, and my control hand is the lop saw. Lop saw is your block hand. Any type of block hand that you have, regardless of tam, bong, lop, whatever. This is my block hand in respect to my center. This is where it is. See? From here to my center line, it's in place. If I'm like here, look how it's jammed in, it's off, it's off. You can actually see the tension here on this part of the arm. But if I'm here, from here to here, runs into my center line, the blocking line. And then my attack line is right here, okay? So that's you really want to be aware of where you are in position when you're doing it. Now, but I create both sides being even from this point on, okay? Another thing to talk about the dummy, how to actually hit it. This is pure solid wood, okay? You want to hit it just the right amount, but you don't want to kill yourself at it either. In other words, you see people wailing on the dummy like I said in the video regarding wall back training. Any kind of training, same thing. You wail on it, sure, you can develop stronger bones, yada yada yada, but at the same time, you're going to hurt yourself from it. I just need to tap just the right amount when I touch a dummy as well. You don't want to hurt yourself when you're doing the dummy. And also, how to contact the dummy is a key thing. Remember, this is your opponent, okay, that you're dealing with. I don't want to be sending the force of the point of contact side to side, okay? In other words, if I do that motion, down jump within the form, down jump, if I intentionally cutting off to this angle side, if I go like this, I'm basically pushing off to the side, okay? When you actually train with jump, even though I touch, I want to make sure I touch, but I send the power to the center line, to the individual's mother line right here, okay? I don't want to go and drive the force that way from the moment of touch. I want to touch, and then I want to send it into the dummy, not to the side of the arm. That's another kind of thing. You see people just hit the dummy to the side, and you can copy it. Basically going side, side, side. But you want to send it, instead of sending it to the side this way, you want to send it into the dummy, into the dummy, into the dummy when you do it. Now, do not misinterpret what it means to send it into the dummy. Do not press into it. It's sort of like, if I do something like pak style, right, into the dummy, that means I send the force just enough to go into the dummy, okay? That doesn't mean I pak style and I'm basically falling onto the arm. In other words, you don't want to press upon any point. So a perfect example is, if I'm leaning on the dummy like this, okay? This is me leaning on the dummy, like this, okay? If someone removes the dummy and my force is still being pushed into this arm, basically I'll fall over. I want to box out, boom, and still control it. If he removes the dummy, I'm still in control of my own hand. I'm not based off, my structure is not based off leaning onto his point of contact, all right? So, and then remember, all the stuff that I've covered out so far about working with the dummy, a lot of footwork is involved with the dummy. In order to get into the right position, you have to have the footwork. For example, when I did from here, this next motion I go into do the tan and low palm. In order to do that, I do a 3-angle step. So for example, I'm here, you see me do 3 steps. 1, 2, and then 3, okay, to adjust myself. If I cut the footwork short and I go 1, 2, looks okay, but what you can't see from that angle is that my body is actually jammed in. In order for me to be actually square and even and actually feel in a good, comfortable position, I actually have to adjust this foot out a little bit to the dummy. All right. The key thing, remember, you're constantly adjusting. If you move, you're adjusting to the dummy every single time. Don't stay in a locked position and say, I can stay in this position here, 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 and then do the whole form. If I move from here, I adjust my position, okay? Now, for example, I do jump sound. I stay Yichikimima square on, jump, okay? I do the jump sound here. Could I do lock and chop here? I could just basically turn. But look at, like I said, right here, a little bit jammed in, a little bit tight. But if I go from here, jump sound, and I do the same motion, I adjust myself from that point, now I'm not jammed in. Okay? So, remember, a couple things to remember and state with the dummy. Don't go fast. Looks cool, but you lose the bigger picture of what you want to develop. Two, take your time. Take your time and feel whether you're jammed in, stretching out, uneven, and if you feel off balance. The footwork should be constantly adjusting you to be in the most optimal position to the dummy. Okay? If you can remember that, even if you don't know the dummy form and you just want to hit around with different techniques, you'll still be able to develop how to adjust yourself to a fixed position, and you'll notice a big difference when you start working with other people. Okay? All right.